Um, and good evening to your worship and members of Finance Committee. I'm pleased to be here tonight to present to you the 2014 utility rate setting process. So the guiding principle we follow when setting the utility rates is that the revenues collected must provide adequate funds for operating, maintenance and expenditures, infrastructure renewal, and adequate capital reserves. A utility is a service funded directly by user fees. So city services that are operated as a utility include our water distribution and supply, our sanitary, sewage and stormwater collection and disposal, our solid waste collection, our green can program, recycling and disposal, food waste and yard trimmings collection, and recycling collection. Focusing on our water utility, we have over 130 kilometers of water mains that network our city, and we have over 6,500 connections to that water system that service our residents and businesses. The average age of our utility we've determined at 44 years old, and the average service life we're estimating at 125 years. Now that's pretty high, and we have a pretty robust system in that the majority of our water mains are cast iron that have a significant life. So we're really fortunate in building on the work of our predecessors in selecting large cast iron water mains that have a service life of up to 150 years. That being said, though, we are forecasting significant replacement required starting in 2025. So some of these smaller cast iron water mains age, and their expected life will end in about the 2025 year timeline. So we are starting to forecast needing significant replacement in 2025, and we're setting utility rates and planning for that through this process. We're facing a 4% increase in costs of water that we buy from Metro Vancouver. We're forecasting a 5% increase in the amount of water that we're actually going to purchase from Metro, and we're proposing a 8% water rate increase and an early payment discount reduction to cover these costs. On the sewage and drainage side, we have 24 kilometers of sanitary sewer mains in the city with over 6,700 connections to that system. We have 148 kilometers of storm sewer mains with over 51 service connections to that system. We're looking at accelerating the rehabilitation of our sanitary mains by relining them, which actually extends their life long term and reduces inflow and infiltration to that system, which will reduce our cost of treatment long term. Our storm sewer system is actually, we're finding, is quite vulnerable to climate change, and through our climate adaptation strategy, we're looking at ways to improve that. One example is actually in the report is the capital program proposed for next year is actually to look at siphoning off some of the stormwater that's currently flowing down Lonsdale, take it to the west and put it into an area of our network that is not seeing significant capacity issues. So an example is that storm we had last summer. We had a 1 in 50 year storm here on the North Shore, and we had some capacity issues on Lonsdale and water running down the surface of Lonsdale. So we're looking at ways to both improve our system and use the existing network that we have to the most efficient way. Sorry, I just want to go back one. Still finish that. So on the wastewater treatment side, costs in our sewage and drainage is looking forward is the Lionsgate wastewater treatment plant needs to be replaced by 2020. Which will be a significant cost in that utility. We are Looking at a Metro sewer levy up by 7% due to increased operation and maintenance costs in the existing system. This isn't anything to do with Lionsgate upgrade at this point. So we're proposing a 5% increase in our sanitary sewer rate, a proposed 6% increase in our storm drainage rate, and again propose to discount that early payment reduction. It shows pie charts of our water utility, and I just wanted to highlight that on the left there, $6 million expenses for water purchases from Metro alone. So it's a significant portion of that utility is just buying water from Metro. And again, on the sewage and drainage side, almost $5 million on the left there is just the disposal charges that we pay to Metro out of that utility, which is, again, a significant portion of our expenses. Some interesting things happening on the solid waste side. Most interesting is that we're proposing a decrease in our refuse and recycling rate overall. We're proposing a $36 decrease in the single-family rate for refuse. On the flip side, we're increasing the green can rate by a smaller amount of $15. We're proposing a $7 decrease in our recycling rate and a $2.50 increase in our eco-levy rate, which totals a net single-family reduction of $25.50. And we're able to do this through a few initiatives. One is biweekly garbage collection, starts mid-January, and so that's significantly reducing our collection costs and actually our disposal costs, because what we're finding is and what we've seen in other municipalities is collecting garbage only every 2 weeks reduces the amount of garbage that people are actually putting in, because they're taking the food waste that in the city is about 36% of the refuse and putting it in the green can, which we are collecting every week and will continue to collect on a weekly basis. On the green can, we're expanding our education program, was expanded, in 2013. We knocked on every home that gets curbside collection of refuse in the city and told them about the green can and offered education materials. We reached 5,000 plus homes through that program. And we estimate the participation rate now for the green can program is near 40%. We're also proposing to implement a multifamily food scraps pilot program in 2014. So starting to get not just the single family, the duplex that are on the green can program now, but go into our multifamily and try it, and with the idea of expanding the program in the future. We're also facing potentially garbage rates going up significantly over the next several years. We're about 52% higher right now, the garbage disposal rate, than the green can rate. So not only is there an environmental benefit from moving the refuse from disposal to a landfill to being composted as green waste, but there's also a strong financial incentive to do that, because we pay significantly higher rates to dispose of garbage than we do of green waste. And as I said, that garbage rate is supposed to go up by 45% by 2017. The other news is on our recycling side, and extended producer responsibility for recycling kicks in next year, and we're going to be enjoying a reduced recycling costs because of that. We're going to be receiving an incentive from industry that we're estimating at $280,000 for next year through that program that's helping to reduce our recycling rates. Solid waste, majority of our costs are related to collection and disposal, and I should note that those overall expenses of $781,000 are significantly lower than what we had in 2013. On the recycling side, we're showing under expenses, we're showing green can costs are going up. As I mentioned, more volume is going to the green can program. Recycling costs going down, and that $280,000 on the revenue side for incentives from the industry association. Public involvement in the process. We've had an information display in the city library foyer. We posted this information on our city website. We've had staff available to answer questions from the public, and we've invited them to share their comments with us. Looking ahead to highlights for 2014 and beyond for our utility program, we're going to continue to manage our assets to ensure long-term viability through our asset management program. We're going to work with Metro on building an affordable new wastewater treatment plant. However, senior government funding support for that wastewater treatment plant is going to be key as we move forward. We're looking forward to increasing participation in our Green Can program and this multifamily pilot program. We're going to be implementing bi-weekly garbage collection, and as I said, recycling costs are shifting to producers of packaging. Thank you, Your Worship. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pope, for your presentation. I understand if you need to be, you're here for some answers to some of the questions.